Chapter 1. The Crash. Kira's world spun out of control as her car skidded helplessly across the slick road. Her heartbeat was a frantic rhythm in her ears as the storm howled around her, a torrential downpour making it nearly impossible to see. She tried desperately to regain control, but the wheel slipped from her grip, and everything turned into chaos. In a blink, the car collided with the tree. The world went black. When Kira came to, she was lying in the muddy forest, her body aching from the crash. Her skin was cold, wet from the rain, and she struggled to push herself up. But before she could make sense of her surroundings, a deep, guttural growl vibrated in the air. Kira froze, her breath caught in her throat. Shadows moved swiftly through the trees, and from the darkened forest emerged an enormous wolf. Its dark fur gleamed like oil, and its eyes were an unnatural, haunting gold. Kira's heart raced. As the wolf drew closer, her eyes locked onto his. A voice inside her, quiet but insistent, whispered that this wasn't just any wolf. This was Tyler, an alpha. But Kira had no idea how she knew this. She hadn't seen him before, and yet, it felt like they had always known each other. Tyler crouched low beside her, his amber eyes glowing with an intensity she couldn't escape. "You shouldn't be alive," he muttered softly, as if marveling at the miracle of her survival. Chapter 2. The Alpha's Claim. The first few days after the crash were a blur. Tyler had carried Kira away from the wreckage, deep into the heart of the forest. She found herself in a place unlike any she had ever seen, a den hidden beneath the trees, surrounded by the most powerful wolves she had ever encountered. The pack was massive, and Tyler ruled them with a quiet authority that made her nervous, but strangely, comforted. She learned that Tyler was the alpha, and that their world, the world of wolves, was far more dangerous and complex than she ever could have imagined. They weren't just ordinary wolves, they were the descendants of an ancient bloodline, and there was something unique about Kira herself. Tyler's presence was magnetic, his strength, his authority, they all called to her in a way she couldn't explain. He didn't speak much, but when he did, his voice sent shivers down her spine, as if every word had weight, purpose. It wasn't just that he was an alpha. Tyler was more. And Kira, she was beginning to realize, was tied to him in ways she couldn't yet understand. Chapter 3. Into the Pack. Kira spent her days trying to adjust to her new reality. She trained with the pack, learning their ways, their rituals, and their culture. The wolves were unlike any animals she had encountered. Their strength, their intelligence, and their unshakable loyalty to Tyler were all things she admired. But it wasn't just the wolves, it was Tyler, too. She felt pulled to him, in a way she couldn't ignore. She began to notice the way the pack treated her differently. She wasn't just another human, they sensed something in her, something powerful. But what was it? Tyler was distant, focused on his responsibilities as alpha. Yet, every time he looked at her, there was an intensity in his gaze that made her heart race. Something was happening between them, something fated. But as much as Kira wanted to embrace it, she couldn't. She had to understand the consequences of this bond before she gave in. Chapter 4. The Wolf Bloodline. Kira's world shifted on its axis when Tyler finally told her the truth. She was not fully human. She was a hybrid, born of both human and wolf blood. And more than that, she was the Luna, the one who would unite two rival packs and bring an end to the centuries-old blood feud. The weight of this revelation pressed down on her like a ton of bricks. She had never imagined that her life would take such a turn. The moon goddess had chosen her, but what did that mean for her and Tyler? Were they fated to be together, to rule these packs and lead them into a new era? Or was she just a pawn in a game she didn't understand? As her connection to Tyler deepened, so did the realization that their bond went beyond simple attraction. There was power in it, a force that could shake the very foundation of the world they knew. But with that power came danger. Chapter 5. Fated Mates. The pull between Kira and Tyler was undeniable. Every moment they spent together, the bond between them grew stronger. It wasn't just love, it was destiny, something ancient and deep. Tyler, however, was torn. He had lived his life by the pack's code, by the strength of his bloodline, and the respect of his wolves. But Kira was different. She was everything he never knew he needed, but could he let her in? And Kira? She struggled with the enormity of what she had become. The Luna. The one who would help unite the two packs. It was a responsibility she wasn't ready for, and yet, she could feel the power surging within her, calling her to embrace it. Their moments together were steamy, passionate, and intense. Every kiss felt like a claim, a mark of what was to come. But with every passing day, enemies rose in the shadows, and their love became more forbidden, more dangerous. Chapter 6. Rival Packs and Hidden Enemies. The rival pack had always lurked in the background, but now, they were more dangerous than ever. Their alpha, Lucas, was ruthless. He wanted Kira, but not for the same reasons Tyler did. He knew her value as the Luna, and he would stop at nothing to claim her for his own. Kira began to realize the gravity of her situation. She wasn't just a pawn in the pack's war. She was the key to their survival. But how could she balance her feelings for Tyler with the dangers that loomed ahead? The pressure was mounting, and the stakes were growing higher by the day. Tyler, determined to protect her, began making difficult choices. He knew the pack could not survive another war, but he also knew that if Kira wasn't by his side, his leadership would be questioned, his authority broken. The future of their world rested on their bond. Chapter 7. The Betrayal. Just when Kira thought she could find peace, betrayal struck. A member of Tyler's pack, someone Kira had come to trust, was caught working with Lucas. The revelation shattered the fragile peace between the packs and set them on a collision course with war. Kira found herself questioning everything she knew about trust, loyalty, and love. Was this world even worth fighting for? Could she trust anyone other than Tyler? Tyler's heart ached as he realized how close he had come to losing everything. His pack, his leadership, and most painfully, Kira. But he wouldn't let her go. Not without a fight. Chapter 8. Embracing her wolf blood. Kira couldn't hide from who she was any longer. The powers within her had awakened, raw and untamed. The wolf blood that ran through her veins was as much a part of her as her humanity, and now she had to learn to control it. As she trained to embrace her wolf form, the power of her transformation overwhelmed her. She was no longer just the Luna. She was the bridge between two worlds, and it was time for her to claim her place by Tyler's side. But enemies lurked at every corner, and as her power grew, so did the threat of the rival pack. They knew the danger Kira posed and would stop at nothing to eliminate her. Chapter 9. Forbidden Passions. The nights between Tyler and Kira were filled with longing and passion. Their bond was a wildfire, consuming everything in its path. But the more they gave in to their desires, the more they risked everything. They couldn't escape their responsibilities, but they also couldn't ignore the magnetic pull between them. Tyler's touch sent shivers through Kira's body, igniting a fire that neither could extinguish. But with every kiss, every touch, they both knew they were getting closer to a point of no return. Chapter 10. The Final Test. As the moon hung high above, casting silver beams onto the forest floor, Kira knew the time had come. The tension in the air was palpable, every wolf on edge, every breath heavy with anticipation. Tyler had called for a council, something unheard of for such a quiet pack. The news of the rival pack's movements was becoming too dangerous to ignore, and the weight of their choices pressed heavily on Kira's shoulders. Tyler stood before the gathered pack, his presence commanding. His gaze never left Kira, though he spoke to the others. The Alpha's voice carried the authority of 1,000 years, but there was something in his eyes, something vulnerable, that made Kira's heart ache. "We've kept our peace for long enough," Tyler said, his voice cutting through the cold night air. "But now we must act. I've already spoken with the leaders of our allies, and they're ready to join us in battle. The enemy packs are too close, and if we don't act now, they will tear us apart." Kira stepped forward, the weight of her destiny almost unbearable. The wolves looked at her with expectant eyes, and for the first time, she truly understood her role as Luna. Her destiny wasn't just to be with Tyler, It was to lead them. To fight beside him. To claim the future. But the future she envisioned came at a great cost. "Tyler," she spoke softly, but it was enough for everyone to hear. Her voice was steady, though her pulse raced. "You're not just asking me to fight. You're asking me to lead. And I don't know if I'm ready." Tyler's eyes softened, a flicker of understanding in their depths. He stepped closer, his hand finding hers. The touch was grounding, solid, and reassuring. "You are ready," he said, his words a quiet but unshakable certainty. "You've always been ready. You just needed to see it for yourself. The moon goddess chose you for a reason, Kira. You are the key to this, to us. And together, we will break the cycle. Together, we will unite the packs." Kira nodded, her breath caught in her throat. She felt the ancient power within her stirring. She wasn't just the Luna. She was the one who could break the chains, who could end the long-standing feud and heal the broken world of the wolves. And with that understanding came a responsibility she couldn't ignore. Chapter 11. Uniting the packs. The battle lines were drawn. Tyler and Kira stood at the forefront of their pack as they prepared for the inevitable war. Word had spread quickly that Kira was the Luna, the one who could unify the two rival packs. But what had started as a symbol of hope had quickly turned into a double-edged sword. Tyler knew the risks. He had lost so much over the years, and Kira's safety was now his highest priority. But Kira was determined to see this through, to prove that her place as Luna wasn't just a title, but a truth. The night before the final meeting, Kira found herself alone in the woods, trying to make sense of it all. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows across the ground. Tyler had been right. She had always been ready for this, for the role she was about to claim. A rustle in the bushes broke her reverie. She turned, expecting the familiar shape of Tyler, but instead, it was a lone wolf, not a member of their pack. He stepped forward, his eyes filled with warning. "You can't do this alone," the wolf growled. "There are wolves among us who want to see you fail. Who want to see Tyler fail. You must be careful." Kira's heart raced. The weight of the truth was crushing her. Her enemies weren't just those from the rival pack. They were hidden within her own. Chapter 12. The Moon Goddess Blessing. The day had come. The final battle was set. Tyler and Kira stood before the ancient altar, the wolves of their pack surrounding them. The air was thick with anticipation, a shroud of fate covering everything. Kira stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moon goddess's blessing on her shoulders. It wasn't just a title she carried, it was a divine mandate. She could feel the raw power surging within her, the wolf blood that had always been there but had remained dormant for so long. "By the moon goddess, I claim this pack," Kira whispered, her voice trembling with the magnitude of her declaration. The words felt as though they were carved into her very soul. Tyler stepped up beside her, his presence powerful and unwavering. "And by my side we will lead." The wolves howled in response, a deep, resounding sound that filled the forest. But Kira knew this was only the beginning. The true test was still to come. Chapter 13. The battle begins. The rival packs gathered at the edge of the forest, their growls and snarls echoing in the night. Kira stood at the front, her heart pounding in her chest. The blood of her ancestors ran through her, giving her strength she had never known she possessed. Tyler, standing by her side, looked at her with an intensity that made her heart skip a beat. He was proud of her, but Kira could see the fear in his eyes. The fear of losing her. The fear of losing everything. "I won't let them take you from me," Tyler whispered, his voice barely audible above the chaos. But Kira wasn't afraid. She had become something more than human. The wolf inside her was ready, and she was ready to fight. The battle raged on, the forest echoing with the sounds of snarling, clashing wolves. Blood spilled onto the ground, and Kira's heart pounded in her chest. She fought with everything she had, her every movement guided by the power of the moon goddess. But as the dust began to settle, it became clear that the battle was far from over. Chapter 14. The Heart of the Pack. Kira and Tyler stood in the aftermath, surveying the damage. Their pack had won the battle, but the victory had come at a cost. Many wolves lay wounded, and there were whispers of deeper betrayals yet to come. Kira knew that she had to unite the packs not only in battle but in heart. The war had been fought, but the real challenge was yet to come. There was still distrust between the packs, still deep-seated hatred and fear that couldn't be wiped away in a single fight. Tyler turned to Kira, his expression softening. He knew she was strong, but now more than ever, he needed to see her shine, to see her lead with the strength of their bond. "It's not enough to win a battle," Tyler said, his voice steady. "We must heal the wounds of our past. We must bring them together. And you, Kira, you are the only one who can do it." Chapter 15. A New Dawn. The sun rose over the forest, casting golden light onto the blood-stained earth. Kira stood on the edge of the battlefield, her heart heavy with the weight of everything that had transpired. But as she looked out across the clearing, she felt a sense of peace beginning to take root. Tyler stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her back. Together, they had survived the storm. Together, they had fought, and together, they would rebuild. "You're not just the Luna, Kira," Tyler whispered, his voice low and filled with reverence. "You're my other half. The only one who could heal this broken world." Kira looked up at him, her heart swelling with love and pride. She had embraced her wolf blood, claimed her place beside him, and now, she would lead them all into a new era. The battle was won. But the war for their future had just begun. Chapter 16. Forbidden Desires. The nights between Kira and Tyler were filled with passion and longing. But with every stolen moment of intimacy, there was also a growing fear. A fear that the bond between them would be tested in ways they weren't prepared for. Kira was no longer just the Luna. She was also the woman Tyler had chosen, the one who had claimed him as much as he had claimed her. Their connection was powerful, undeniable, but it came with consequences. For Tyler, the passion they shared was both a gift and a curse. He couldn't ignore the way his desire for her pulled at him, the way her touch consumed him. But he also knew that they were not just lovers. They were leaders. And every moment they spent together was a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows, waiting to tear them apart. Chapter 17. The Dark Side of the Moon. Not everyone in the pack was thrilled with the idea of Kira as Luna. There were whispers in the shadows, doubts about her ability to lead. The rival packs were still gathering, and Kira knew that she would have to face them once again. But this time, it would be different. She was stronger now, more certain of her place in the world. And Tyler was by her side. Together they would face whatever came their way, the dark side of their world, the hidden enemies, and the forbidden desires that threatened to tear them apart. But no matter what, Kira was ready. The moon goddess had chosen her, and she would not fail. Chapter 18. Tensions Within. Kira stood in the heart of the pack's territory, her breath steady but her heart uneasy. The latest victory had come with a price. The battle had claimed lives, but more than that, it had exposed the fissures that ran deep within her pack. Not everyone was loyal. Not everyone believed in her. And even now, whispers of doubt and betrayal crept through the air like a cold wind. Tyler stood beside her, his gaze sharp as he surveyed the pack. He could feel the tension, the undercurrent of mistrust simmering beneath the surface. The pack was loyal to him, yes, but Kira's role was still being questioned. Some believed she was too young, too untested. Others feared the power that flowed within her blood, power that could change everything. "We need to bring them together," Tyler said quietly, his voice laced with concern. "I've spent years leading them, but I can't do it alone." "Not anymore." Kira nodded, feeling the weight of his words. She was the Luna, the one who could bridge the divide. But she wasn't just the Luna for Tyler's pack, she had to be the Luna for them all. The wolves, the rivals, and the ones who still didn't believe in her. "I'll make them see," Kira said with determination. "I have to. For us, for the future." Tyler's hand found hers, the touch a silent promise. But even as they stood there together, Kira knew that the real battle was only beginning. And it would take everything she had to win the trust of the pack, and more, to secure a future free of the shadows that haunted them. Chapter 19. The Shattered Trust. Kira's first true test came when the alpha from the rival pack, Lucas, demanded a parley. The war had been raging for months, but now, there was a fragile possibility of peace. Lucas had grown tired of the bloodshed. His pack was weakening, and he had no choice but to come to the table. Kira knew this meeting would be critical. Not only was it a chance to secure a future for both packs, but it would also be a test of her power as Luna. The other alpha wolves were wary of her. They didn't trust her. Many of them still saw her as a human, unworthy of the title she had been given. But when the day of the parley arrived, Kira stood tall, her heart strong and sure. The weight of the moon goddess's blessing was heavy on her shoulders, but she was ready. Tyler stood by her side, but she knew that this meeting had to be hers alone. She had to prove her worth, her strength, to the rival alpha and his pack. This was her moment. As she stepped into the clearing where the parley was to take place, the air was thick with tension. Lucas was waiting, his icy blue eyes studying her with distrust. His pack surrounded him, their eyes like sharpened blades. "I'm here to talk, Kira," Lucas said, his voice cold and calculating. "But make no mistake, this is no peace treaty. If you fail to prove yourself, I'll claim what's rightfully mine." Kira felt the challenge in his words, but she didn't flinch. She stepped forward, her voice clear and commanding. "You speak of claiming what's yours, Lucas. But the only thing you have is fear. Fear of change. Fear of the future. And I am the future." The tension crackled between them, but Kira could feel something shifting inside her. The wolf within her was stirring, recognizing her power, her worth. This was her time, and no one, not even Lucas, could take that from her. Chapter 20. Bloodlines Unveiled. The parley had ended in an uneasy truce, but Kira knew this was just the beginning. The rival packs had retreated, but there was still much work to be done. The trust between the two packs was fragile, and the war for their future was far from over. That night, as Kira sat alone by the fire, she felt a strange pull deep within her. The moon above was full, its light shimmering across the clearing, and as she gazed up at it, the secrets of her bloodline began to unfold. The more she embraced her wolf blood, the more she understood the true nature of her power. She was more than just a hybrid, she was the bridge between two worlds, a force that could bring peace, or destroy everything in its path. It was then that Tyler found her, his presence steady and comforting. He knelt beside her, his hand gently resting on her shoulder. "You're not just the Luna," he said softly. "You're the answer to everything. The blood that runs through your veins is older than any of us. Your power, it's not just a gift. It's a legacy. And now, you must decide what to do with it." Kira looked at him, her eyes filled with the weight of everything they had endured. She could feel the power within her, the ancient blood that connected her to the moon goddess. But there was still so much she didn't understand. "I'm not sure I can do this," Kira admitted, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "The pressure, the responsibility, it's too much." Tyler's gaze softened, and he pulled her close. "You're not alone. Not anymore. I'm with you, Kira. Always." Chapter 21. A pack divided. The tension within the pack grew, simmering just beneath the surface. Kira's role as Luna was still being tested, and the challenges were greater than she had anticipated. The rival pack had retreated, but there were whispers within her own pack. Wolves who questioned her ability to lead, wolves who didn't believe she could unite them with the rival packs. Tyler had always led with strength and authority, but even he couldn't quell the undercurrents of discontent. It was clear that if they were going to survive, Kira had to prove herself, and not just as Tyler's mate, but as the true Luna. Kira knew that she had to make a choice, to bow to the pressure and retreat into the shadows, or to stand tall and fight for her place. She wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for the future of the wolves, for the future of their world. And as the moon hung low in the sky, Kira made her decision. She would not back down. She would not be defeated. She would rise to the challenge and claim her place, as the Luna, as the leader, and as the one who could bring peace to the fractured world of the wolves. Chapter 22. A Love Tested. Kira and Tyler's love was as powerful as it was forbidden. Their bond had been forged in the fires of destiny, but now, it was being tested by the weight of their responsibilities. The passion between them burned hotter than ever, but the strain of leadership, the uncertainty of their future, was taking its toll. Tyler was torn between his duty to the pack and his love for Kira. He had always been the alpha, the one in control, but with Kira by his side, he had come to realize that he couldn't do this alone. She was his equal, his partner, and the thought of losing her was unbearable. But Kira, too, was struggling. She had embraced her role as Luna, but the pressure was immense. She had to lead the pack, unite the rival wolves, and prove herself worthy of the power she had inherited. Every decision she made felt like a burden, and every choice she made risked their love, their future. Despite the challenges, despite the doubts, Kira and Tyler knew that they would not, let go of each other. Their love was written in the stars, and nothing, not even the darkest forces in the world, could tear them apart. Chapter 23. Secrets Revealed. The full moon was high in the sky, and Kira stood before the sacred altar once more. The time had come for her to fully embrace the power within her. The moon goddess had chosen her, but now, Kira had to choose herself. She had to embrace the wolf blood that ran through her veins and claim her place as Luna. The power surged within her as she knelt before the altar. She could feel the presence of the moon goddess, guiding her, urging her to embrace her destiny. And as the moonlight bathed her, Kira felt the truth of her bloodline unraveling before her eyes. She wasn't just the Luna. She was the one who could bring balance to the world of wolves. She was the one who could heal the rift between the packs and restore peace. But the cost would be great. Kira would have to make sacrifices she wasn't sure she was ready for. Chapter 24. The Betrayal Within. Kira's world came crashing down when betrayal struck at the heart of her pack. One of Tyler's most trusted wolves had turned on them, feeding information to the rival pack. The traitor had been working from within, sowing seeds of doubt and division among the wolves. Tyler's heart broke as he realized the depth of the betrayal. He had trusted this wolf, considered him family. But now, there was no choice but to deal with the traitor. And as Tyler confronted the wolf, Kira knew that the trust within their pack had been shattered. The fight was not just for survival anymore. It was for unity. It was for the future. Chapter 25. Standing Together. The tension was thick, and every wolf knew the time for action had come. Tyler and Kira stood side by side, their bond stronger than ever. Together, they would lead their pack into the final battle, a battle that would determine their fate. Kira had embraced her power. She was the Luna. She was the one who could unite the wolves, heal the broken bonds, and bring an end to the war. And Tyler? He was by her side, his heart beating for her, for them. The battle was brutal. The rival packs came in full force, determined to claim victory. But Tyler and Kira fought with the strength of their love, their unity, and their bond. And when the dust settled, it was clear, they had won. But the victory came at a cost. Many lives had been lost, and the scars of the war would remain. But Kira and Tyler had proven their worth, and together, they would rebuild. Chapter 26. The Aftermath. In the wake of the battle, Kira and Tyler found themselves standing at the precipice of a new beginning. The packs had been united, the war had ended, and peace was within reach. But as they looked to the future, they knew that their journey was far from over. The road ahead would be difficult. There would be challenges, obstacles, and enemies lurking in the shadows. But Kira and Tyler were ready. They had survived the storm. And together, they would face whatever came next. Chapter 27. Claiming the Future. Kira and Tyler stood hand in hand, looking out over the vast expanse of land before them. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow across the horizon. This was their future, the future they had fought for, the future they had claimed together. The wolves were united, and the bond between the packs had been solidified. Kira had proven herself not only as the Luna but as a leader, a partner, and a warrior. And Tyler had shown his unwavering love and loyalty, standing by her side every step of the way. They had claimed their future, and now, nothing could stand in their way. Chapter 28. A New Dawn. The sun rose slowly over the vast wilderness, bathing the land in a soft golden glow. Kira stood at the highest peak overlooking the forest, her breath steady as she gazed out at the world she and Tyler had fought so hard to protect. The years that had passed since the battle with the rival packs felt like both an eternity and the briefest of moments. What had once seemed impossible, unity among the wolves, peace between the rival packs, the end of the blood feud, had become a reality. She could still feel the weight of the decisions she had made, the sacrifices she had endured, and the lives lost in the battle for peace. But standing here now, with the forest alive beneath her and the winds carrying the promise of a new day, Kira felt a quiet contentment deep within her soul. They had earned this, the peace, the strength, the future they had worked tirelessly for. Beside her, Tyler stood just as still, his hand resting gently on her back. His presence was a constant, a steady rock that grounded her no matter what storms they had weathered together. She could feel the heat of his body radiating beside hers, the way he was so attuned to her every movement, every breath. Their connection had deepened in ways she had never imagined possible. They were no longer just fated mates. They were partners in every sense of the word. "I never imagined it would be like this," Kira whispered, her voice carrying in the crisp morning air. Tyler turned his gaze toward her, his eyes reflecting the warmth of the sun as he reached for her hand. "This is what we've fought for, Kira. What we've built together. You've shown the world, shown me, the power of love, unity, and strength. I knew you were meant for this, but I had no idea how deep your power ran. You are the heart of this pack, and this world." Kira smiled softly, her heart swelling with emotion. It was still surreal to think of how far they had come, from the chaos of the crash to this moment, standing side by side as leaders, lovers, and equals. The pack, their allies, and even the rival wolves who once saw them as enemies now looked to them for guidance and hope. But as they stood together, there was one thing Kira couldn't shake: the feeling that this new peace, this new world, was fragile. She had seen how easily it could all fall apart, how quickly the tides could shift and throw everything into chaos again. "I know it's not over," she said, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "There are still wolves who don't accept the peace. Still dangers lurking in the shadows. It's only a matter of time before we face another trial." Tyler's hand tightened around hers, his grip reassuring. "We've been through hell, Kira. We'll face whatever comes next, together. I know the future won't always be easy, but with you by my side, I believe in it. In us." Her heart fluttered at the words. It was true. She had never felt stronger, more certain of their bond, and of her place in this world. They were ready for whatever came next, ready to fight for the future they had earned. And though the challenges would come, they would face them head-on. No matter the price, Kira and Tyler would protect their pack, their love, and the world they had built together. Chapter 29. The Legacy. The months that followed were filled with a sense of quiet satisfaction, yet Kira knew that peace wasn't something to take for granted. She had learned that leadership wasn't just about guiding a pack in times of war. It was about maintaining unity, finding strength in vulnerability, and building a legacy that would last for generations. She and Tyler spent countless hours discussing the future, forging alliances with neighboring packs, and ensuring that every wolf, regardless of their past, had a place within their new world. The rival packs that had once threatened to tear them apart were now allies, their leaders working alongside Kira and Tyler to create a world of peace that no longer revolved around bloodshed and fear. But Kira couldn't ignore the lingering doubts that sometimes crept into her mind. Had they truly won? Had they earned the right to lead? Every decision, every challenge, seemed to bring new questions. She would never forget the bloodshed, the fear, and the betrayals that had shaped her into the leader she had become. "Do you ever wonder, Tyler," Kira asked one evening as they sat by the fire, "if we've really made a difference? I look around, and I see the wolves, the families, the future. But sometimes, I still feel like we're just scratching the surface. There's so much left to build, to heal. Tyler turned to her, his face illuminated by the crackling flames. His expression was thoughtful, but his eyes were unwavering, full of the strength and certainty that had always drawn her to him. We've already made a difference, Kira. You've changed the world, one step at a time. And now, it's our turn to keep it safe, to protect it. What we've done here, this peace, this unity, it's just the beginning. And I know that whatever challenges come our way, we'll face them together. Kira took a deep breath, her mind quieting as she absorbed his words. She had known this truth all along. She was the Luna, the leader, but she was also his equal, and together they would continue to shape their world. This was their legacy, their gift to the wolves, and they would fight for it every single day. And so, Kira knew that her place was here, at Tyler's side, continuing the work they had started. No matter the trials that lay ahead, she was ready. Together, they would face everything, protect their pack, and ensure that the future they had fought for would last. Chapter 30. Forever Bound. The moon hung high in the sky, casting its silvery light over the land. Kira and Tyler stood together on the highest peak, overlooking the forest that stretched for miles beneath them. The pack had gathered below, their presence a testament to the unity Kira and Tyler had built. They had fought for this, and now it was theirs, a future filled with peace, love, and the promise of a new world. As they stood there, hand in hand, Kira felt the weight of the years they had spent together. The battles, the losses, the victories, all culminating in this moment. Their bond was unbreakable, forged in the fires of fate and destiny, and tempered by the love they had shared since the very beginning. I never thought we'd be here, Kira said, her voice soft, filled with awe. It feels like everything has changed. But then again, I suppose everything has. Tyler turned to her, his eyes filled with pride and love. You've changed everything, Kira. You're the Luna, the one who united us. And now, we have a future we can be proud of. Kira smiled, her heart swelling with the love she felt for him. I couldn't have done it without you. You've been my strength, my anchor. And now, we're not just leaders. We're a family. The pack's howls echoed in the distance, a sound of unity, of strength. It was a sound that had once been filled with anger and violence, but now, it was filled with the promise of peace. Together, Kira and Tyler had created something powerful. Something that would last for generations. A legacy of love, leadership, and unity. We've come so far, Kira whispered, her voice filled with wonder. And yet, I feel like this is just the beginning. Tyler's hand tightened around hers, his gaze steady and full of resolve. This is just the beginning of forever. Together, we will face everything. No matter what comes, we're bound to each other. Always. As the moon rose higher, casting its glow over the forest, Kira and Tyler stood united, their souls intertwined, ready for whatever the future held. The bond between them, the love they shared, would never be broken. Their hearts, their destinies, forever bound. The end.